Hello YouTube, welcome back to the channel. I told you we had some canning videos coming up. Everybody's wondering why we're doing food preservation. Well, it's not on our terms, it's on our prepper garden. When the garden's putting out, you got to take care of it right away. You're going to freeze dry it, can it, or freeze it. So today we're canning green beans, and I'm going to show you how we do this. So what we've got is we're doing 5 pints. We've got about 4 pounds of green beans.
Roughly.
How much?
Roughly 4 pounds.
Roughly 4 pounds. Okay, tell me what you do with your jars first, so everybody will know. We took the jars.
You wash them.
Okay.
And then you put them. I put mine in the oven at 250 to get them hot.
Okay.
It also sterilizes them.
Okay. And what we've got here, you put in how much salt?
I put in a half a teaspoon for pints.
Half a teaspoon.
You don't have to put anything in.
Okay. And we're doing the Nesco canner. This is cool. We're doing it at our elevation. It comes with different weights. We're at 10 pounds of pressure. She has hit the brown button and the start, and you can see it's counting down.
It's just warming my water up.
It's just warming the water up in there. We've got 8 cups of water. You can see it's warming up. So you got to do that first to prep the canner. And right here, all she's got was some boiling water.
You can use chicken broth, beef broth, vegetable broth. I don't. Sometimes I do, but I don't this time.
Okay.
Because it may go into casseroles or something.
So you don't want it flavored.
I don't want it flavored other than a little bit of salt. And salt's optional too.
Oh. So what's the head space on these pints of
1
green
inch.
beans? 1 inch head space.
This has, it tells you on here, but it's just really right to the first.
So just about to the first ring on there.
And these don't have to be blanched because I'm putting hot boiling water in them.
That makes sense.
Like tomatoes, you have to score them and blanch them.
And so now you're debubbling.
Yes, don't forget to debubble.
Very important step. Make sure you got all the bubbles out. And then if you take a look after you debubbled and make sure your head space is still the same, right?
Right. And if you think you might have, you can't remember if you debubble, because when you get all your jars out here and you start moving and you're going faster, take the lid off and redo it. Just debubble it and then re-clean the top of the lid, because I've done that before.
All right.
Where you second guess yourself.
So you don't want to be doing that. And so now she's going to take white vinegar, we got in a bowl over there, and make sure you clean these lids or the jar tops. She's already sterilized and washed her lids.
And I'm still at the same head space.
Same head space. And you don't have to heat the lids anymore, guys. Like they said, the ball book.
If I'm water bath canning, I still do. I'm going to turn this off because it is hot.
So this is going to be pressure can at 10 pounds of pressure for our elevation here in central North Carolina.
20 minutes for pints, 25 for quarts.
20 minutes for pints, 25 for quarts. And this Nesco is great, guys. She loves this.
Yeah.
Everybody can do the canning in here. It's real easy. We still have the old-fashioned canner we use on the back deck over the turkey cooker when she's doing a whole lot of jars at one time.
When you're home, because I don't like the propane.
She doesn't like the turkey cooker propane setup I got to can with on the deck. So if I'm home, that's what we do. But she can do this. Really anybody, you can do it in the house. Yes, it uses electric, but if you were in a grid down, you could definitely do it like we do on the back deck sometimes with the turkey cooker.
Well, hopefully you have all this done before the grid goes down.
Well, I don't know. We're trying. And it's not just about, a prepper mentality, but if you grow your garden, guys, you're going to want to preserve your food somehow. You're either going to want to freeze it, can it, or freeze dry it. Freeze drying is not an option for a lot of folks. Learning the skill, it's not hard. The ball book.
I was kind of intimidated at first.
I think everybody's intimidated by canning at first because there's so much about hibachilism and things like that. It's just, doing it properly.
You can get all that just from the stuff you buy at the grocery store, too.
Well, the stuff you get at the grocery store, you don't know what you're getting anymore, whether it's canned or not.
And they're kind of brightening up, too.
Oh,
just
I see.
with the hot water.
But
you want to make sure your beans are below that line.
Okay, so make sure they're right at it or right below that
Yeah.
jar line. If you can see, yeah, that's perfect, it looks like. So learn to can, guys.
Probably put another one or so in
I
there.
know a lot of folks, a lot of preppers out there, they come to the channel. I get beat up on growing food. I get beat up on canning food and preserving food like this. Canning, they say, is a woman's job. I think it's a life skill to have. Being able to preserve your food, that's the main thing. If you're growing it, you know, make sure you can put it up. Know how to preserve it. I don't see anything wrong with that. A lot of folks say that, you know, that's not prepping. Well, I can guarantee you when if something happens, we're going to be able to have our food from our garden that's fresh, that we know where it came from, how we put it up, and it don't have a lot of byproducts in it. We're not going to be reliant on grocery stores. We're not going to be reliant on supply chain issues, anything like that. She's getting the jars out of the oven. How hot did you heat those?
250,
For how long?
maybe about 10 minutes.
And that was after you washed them.
I don't know, see, that got me all confused.
So after you washed them, you put them in the oven for about
Yes,
10
I
minutes
can
at
move that.
250.
Don't use that one.
Oh, wrong size. And that's a teaspoon again?
This is a half a teaspoon.
Half a teaspoon, and that's optional, correct?
Optional.
Okay, cool. Yeah, guys, if you learn to do this now in good times, and, you know, if you're not growing a garden, I know some folks go to grocery store and get fresh produce, or they go to their neighbor to get fresh produce, and they can it. They get fruit, they make jelly and jams. Experiment with it. It's just like growing the food. Experiment with it. Learn how to do it in hard or in good times. So in hard times, it's a piece of cake. It's just practice. I've showed you our long-term storage pantry.
Well, this way, when you grow it out of your garden too, like you have to sift through all the green beans, take out the good ones, the ones that spots. When you get them at the grocery store and you buy them, then that's what you're stuck with.
And that's not always the best practice because, like you say, yeah, you're stuck with whatever you get. And it's not always the best quality. You don't know where it's coming from, who's handled it. And they're always having, you know, like I did the video a while back about cucumbers being recalled. Well, we didn't have that problem here.
Nope.
You're going to have to do a pickling video and show everybody your pickles. They taste just like dill pickles that you buy at the store, but they come straight out of our garden. I really think you're going to have more than 5 pints here.
Oh, yeah.
You may even have 10. So the garden did good this year. Probably not, you know, a lot of people, if you have a bigger family, this might not go as far. But for us,
But I've already put up 8 jars.
well, but still, I mean,
And then when we have family and stuff come over, then I have quart.
yeah, you got the quart jars that you put up, and we got the pints. The pints work better for us. But those green beans there, guys, that is what it's about. When you're growing your own, you get the fresh stuff. This Nesco canner, if you hadn't looked into it, you should. She loves it. She swears by it. It does a good job. It's like set and forget. You don't have to worry about a whole lot of working time with
It does water
it.
bath and steaming. It does high pressure cooking, low pressure cooking. You just brown your stuff. It's actually got a pressure cooker on it, a slow cooker. But I have a machine that does all that. So this is just for canning. So the oils and stuff don't go in there.
So when you're canning, well, you'll show me that in a minute, I guess, when we get to that point, so everybody understands it. But if you're interested in the Nesco, we highly recommend it. We're not affiliated with it. It's just a good product. And if I have a good product, and I tell you what we're using here on the channel, you know, if it helps you guys out, that's what it's all about. I'm not pushing for you to buy anything.
And it wasn't that expensive.
How much was it? Do you remember?
Part of me wants to say 89.
Under $100?
Yeah.
I bet with Biden inflation, I bet it's more than 100 now.
I got that one 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago. So it's probably not 89 now, guys. Probably not. If you're lucky, it might be. But when you're doing pints of green beans, we're doing a 1-inch head space on it. And that's usually right up to that first rim right there. And after she fills it up to the first rim, she's going to debubble and make sure it's still at the first rim. Because if you have bubbles in there that break out or come up to the top, that takes the water level down, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you don't
Well,
want
then
that.
you're moving them around too.
And it gets them packed down in there a little better. And everybody does canning different, guys. I just want to bring you along for what we're doing. And like I say, right now the garden is dictating a lot of my videos, because when the food's coming off, it's got to be taken care of. You're either freezing it, freeze drying it, canning it, dehydrating. You're doing something. So that's why you're seeing these videos now. And as you can see, there's a lot of news to be talked about. But there's going to be news every day to talk about. And again, make sure you clean your jar tops like that right there with white vinegar. White distilled vinegar is what she's using.
With this being water, you really could just use water to clean it. I was taught with vinegar, so that's just what I do.
Now, there's an ongoing thing between me and her. I cannot tighten the lids, guys. She will not let me put the rims on the jars. She says I'm too heavy-handed. I say she's too light-handed, but that's an ongoing thing here. So that's why you don't see me doing any
Well, if
of
you
it.
put it on too tight, then you're going to get a false seal.
Well, you told me that, but
Yeah.
even though I try not to put it on too tight, you still say I do. So you daintily put it on gingerly. I know that's what everybody says to do, and that's what the ball book says, but apparently I don't know what gingerly is.
No.
No? Well, that's not nice.
It's true.
But yeah, I've had a lot of people ask me about the canning videos, the freeze drying videos, and you're going to see those when it's garden season and stuff is coming in, just because we have to take care of it. And I'm just trying to bring you guys along to show you how you can do it. And you know, just like with the generators and stuff, I like to show you those things. But it's all about the timing right now. And we have been working in the garden. We've been fighting this heat, taking care of everything, and it's paying off. We're going to be doing some tomatoes shortly.
Yeah, those are going crazy out there.
Oh, we've got tons that are about to be coming off out there. But that's what's dictating a lot of the videos now, because people have asked for them. And to
this
me,
is simple.
well, it's simple, you know, but some people are, like you said, you were first intimidated by it.
Oh, I was, yeah.
Because everybody was trying to scare you with botulism and things like that. The biggest things you got to look for is you don't want to have a false seal. As long as the seal is good on it. And when she's done canning these, I'll show you when they come out and after they've cooled down a little bit, she always takes the rings off.
After they've cooled down for 24 hours.
After 24 hours.
Or 12 hours.
And we never, a lot of people say you can, we do not stack our...
No.
We do not stack our canned food on top of each other. It takes up more space that way, but we choose not to. Now, I know a lot of people are going to tell me that's fine to do that, and if you do, by all means, continue. We do it out of a, you know, peace of mind for us, so that we know. See how she just barely puts that on there? Mm-hmm. That gets me every time. She doesn't let me do that at all. So, how many is that now? 5?
1, 2, 4, 5.
5. Okay, so you put that in there, and that slides over and locks. Let me see that again. It slides over and locks. So it just goes that way and locks.
And then you just put this on exhaust.
Okay.
That's a little thing right there.
Okay, so that goes to exhaust. And then we come here.
You hit high.
Okay.
Do not hit pressure cook. It's
Okay.
on high and come to time. Whoops. Sorry about the beeping.
It's no worse than the vacuum sealer.
And then you hit start, and then probably in about 10-15 minutes you'll start seeing steam come up, and then it'll do a 10-minute countdown. And when it gets to E0, it'll beep again, and then I put it to airtight, and then it'll start its countdown for the 20 minutes.
Okay, guys, so she's telling me it's going to be about 10 minutes. I'm not going to waste your time. I'll bring you back when it's really close to doing all that stuff she said. Because like me, I'm a visual learner. So I will bring you back and we'll show you the next step in this with your Nesco canner and how we're taking care of our green beans fresh from the garden. All right, see you guys in a minute. All right, it's doing its thing. I just want to bring you along, and what we're waiting on is for this steam to get solid, and when the machine tells us it's time, we'll bring you back. But I just want to show you what to expect on this machine here. You can hear the noise it's making. All that's normal. And I'll see you in a minute. Alright guys, the steam's coming out good. The machine just went to a 10-minute countdown. It's been 12 minutes since we started the heating process. And I'm not being redundant, I'm just trying to be thorough, so if anybody's got any questions, you know, the Nesco canner, show you how simple it is and give you step by step. And that's all there is to it. And when that counts down to 0,
it'll say E0, and it'll beep, and that's my indicator to flip it to airtight.
okay,
And then it'll do its countdown for the 20 minutes.
okay. So, see, it just switched to E9. So when it gets down to E0, we'll show you the next step. See you in a minute. Okay guys, the canner just went off, and that's what you're going to see, E0. And you're going to turn that to...
Airtight.
You turn it to airtight.
You're still going to see some steam coming up, that's fine. And once the pressure gets all the way up, then the counter will start counting down the 20 minutes.
Okay, so you've already set the 20 minutes on here?
Yeah,
it's still flashing.
I started it.
It's still flashing E0.
It will. It'll take a few minutes. I just put it on airtight.
Okay, so once the steam builds up, the counter will come on? All right. So at this point, they don't have to do anything. Just when they hit E0, put that on airtight.
Yep.
All right.
And this is normal. You're going to see that little bit.
A little bit of bubbling there is normal?
Yeah, that's normal with any other canners.
Okay. Yeah, this is a great machine, guys. Like I say, it takes a lot of the guesswork out of it. Because when we do it on the back deck, I'll show you one when we do it back there with the big canner, with the weight you put on top, and how we have to keep the temperature regulated. But it's easy to do on the turkey cooker. She just prefers to do this in here.
This is so much easier.
Yeah, it's easy. It's a lot easier. And like she said, she was intimidated a long time ago, and then she finally come around after we started having tons of food to put up. And so now she cans a lot, and that's what we're doing.
Well, also too, this canner, it will shut itself off after the 20 minutes. So if I'm upstairs doing something or out back doing something, it's automatically going to shut itself off. And then you have to leave it in there for an hour. So you have really an hour and 20 minutes that you can go off and do whatever you need to do.
Okay, so this symbol here, what does that mean?
It means it's getting ready to go to its timer.
Okay, so it goes from E0 to this circulating thing here. So once it's done, you're telling me that it, or telling everyone that it just shuts itself off after 20 minutes?
Yes, and you have to let it come down to let the pressure ease on its own. And the book, the manual says to let it set for an hour. Don't mess with the lid or anything.
So you don't take it off of airtight or anything?
No, you do nothing.
So it just basically cools itself down for about an hour.
Then you pull them out and they'll start sealing. I always set the kitchen timer just to remind me if I'm busy doing stuff.
Okay. Seems easy enough. All right.
If
So
you look up on top, a lot of that steam has already dissipated because it's building its pressure.
so it's got a valve in there. And it's got safety valves inside the lid too, right? That'll break open if it over pressurizes. And that's another thing. A lot of people are worried about your canners over pressurizing. That's very possible back in the day.
But this has a really good locking mechanism with the lid. So I'm not afraid of that.
Yeah, and a lot of times we do make sure that the seal is clean, and she does take care of the seal. They sent an extra seal with the machine.
Yes.
So you got to keep an eye on that. Make sure your seal's good. And that's up here in this. When it's open, you'll see that seal. And you're going to want to make sure that's always in place and it's not offset or messed up in there. And make sure it's clean. But other than that, guys, we're just going to let it sit here, and it's building up pressure now. And you can hear the steam coming out. So that's going to be coming out, and this steam will continue to come out. So it's self-regulated, kind of like the weight that we normally put on the other canner. I'm more familiar with the canner outside than I am in here. So anyway, guys, I'll bring you back. It's going to keep doing this, and the next display will be a 2-0, right? Because it's 20 minutes for pints. And if you were doing quarts, it would be a 25. It'll start counting down. We'll bring you back when all that takes place. See you in a few. All right, it's been 19 minutes and some change. So this is going to count down. This is the last minute. That will be 20 minutes for these 5 pints of green beans. When it hits 0, we're going to let it set. The canner will sit for an hour. There you go. It just cut off. It's going to sit here for an hour. You don't have to do anything. Going to let the steam come off. It's going to do this. It's going to take care of itself. It's all self-contained. After it sits here about an hour, it'll cool off good. And then we will take them out and we'll let them set. I'll show you what that looks like. All right, guys, the hour is gone by. The canner cooled off, and you can still see they're hot. We took them out. We set them here. You can see them still bubbling. And there you go, guys. We're going to let these set. We're not going to take the rings off here. We're not going to take those off for about 24 hours tomorrow. Then we will check and make sure every one of these is sealed. And then we'll take the rings off. We'll let them set for a little while. And make sure that everything's sealed up properly. And then they'll go in our long-term storage. So if you got a garden, you're into canning, or you're just new to it, don't be intimidated by it, guys. It's real easy to do. I suggest starting out with the ball book. If you've got an old canner, it'll tell you how to do that. I'll show you that in another video. But today was about the Nesco in the house. And again, it did a great job. So all right, guys. Learn to grow your food. Learn how to preserve it. Till next time, I'm Ted. We will talk about it. Thanks for watching.